Good day and welcome to West Media. For decades, France was one of Burkina Faso's closest military allies and political partner. French troops were stationed in the country. Military agreement was in place. Intelligence was shared. France said it was there to help fight terrorists. Then Captain Traore made a decision that shocked most of the world. He didn't just ask the French troop to leave. He began cutting almost every major ties between Burkina Faso and France. The question is, why would a country fighting one of the world's deadliest terrorist insurgency deliberately cut ties with one of the strongest military partners? The answer is far more complicated and most people suggest. If you enjoy investigation that goes beyond the headlines and explain bigger picture, subscribe now. That's exactly what we're doing here at West Media. Let's begin. When Ibrahim Traoré came to power in September 2022, Burkina Faso was already facing one of the world's worst security crises in history. Large parts of the country was outside government control. Millions had been displaced. Thousands had been killed. For years, France had been deeply involved in military operations across the Sahel. Through missions such as the Barkhane and by maintaining special force in Burkina Faso. Yet, despite all of this, years of cooperation, security continued to deteriorate. For Traoré and many Burkina Faso citizens, one question became impossible to ignore. If France had been helping for so many years, why was the situation getting worse instead of getting better? That question became the foundation of everything that follows. Within months of taking office, Traoré requests that the French Special Force leave Burkina Faso. Military cooperation agreement began to end. French troops withdraw. Later, diplomatic tensions escalate further, including expulsion of French diplomats and suspension of several forms of cooperation. France rejected accusation that it was interfering in Burkina Faso's affair. But Traoré publicly argued that Burkina Faso could no longer depend on foreign powers to secure its future. For him, this was not simply about military strategy. It was about sovereignty. Before we go further, I want your opinion. If your country's security had continued to worsen after years of foreign military assistance, would you continue the same policy? Or would you change course? Let me know in the comment. But military cooperation wasn't the only part of the story. Traore repeatedly spoke about something much larger. He argued that political independence meant very little without economic independence. He questioned long-standing economic relationship with African nations and their former colonial powers. He promoted local production. He encouraged industry to develop. He called on young Africans to believe they could build their own future instead of depending on outside powers. This message resonated far beyond Burkina Faso. Across the Sahel, many people began to ask whether decades of dependency had truly delivered security and prosperity. Then came the creation of the Ally of the Sahel States, the AES. Together with Mali and Niger, Burkina Faso began building a new relationship, or a regional relationship, based on mutual defense and greater political cooperation. The message was clear. Rather than relying on foreign or former colonial powers, the three countries wanted to strengthen cooperation among themselves and diverse their international relationship or partners. Supporters saw this as a historic step towards Africa's sovereignty. Critics warned it could isolate the region and create new risks. The debate continues today. So stay with me, because the biggest reason Traore cut ties with France may not have been military at all. Throughout his speech, Traore returned to one central idea: trust. He argued that Burkina Faso's existing relationship with France still serve the country's national goal. He also made serious allegations that foreign actors continue to interfere in the region. France has consistently denied those allegations. Regardless of where people stand on those claims, one fact is undeniable. Traore concluded that Burkina Faso's future requires a completely different path, and he acted on that belief. The consequences have been enormous. French troops are gone. Military agreements have changed. New security partners has emerged. The AES has become one of the most closely watched political development in Africa and around the world. Governments are asking whether Burkina Faso decision represent a temporary shift or the beginning of a much larger transformation across the continent. This is no longer just a story about Burkina Faso. It's the story about how Africa, nations define sovereignty, choose their partners, and reshape their place in the world history, or in the world today. History will ultimately decide whether Ibrahim Traoré's decision was the right one. Supporters argue he restored dignity and independence. Critics argue the risks remain extremely high. But one thing is certain: the relationship between Burkina Faso and France has changed in ways that the world have seen almost unimaginable just a few years ago. If you found this investigation valuable, press the like button. It's helped people discover those stories. And if you are new to West Best Media, subscribe, because we are only beginning to explore major geographic shift taking place across Africa. Now, I want to leave you with one final question. If you were president of Burkina Faso, would you have made the same decision as Ibrahim Traoré, and why? Or why not? I read every comment. Until the next investigation, thank you for watching West Best Media.